Today's case is a barbaric crime committed against a 4-year-old child. I warn you that if you are not having a good day, come back to watch it later, because the details of this case will shock you to your core. This is the story of Derrick Robie. Derrick Joseph Robie was born on October 2nd, 1988 in the United States. He lived with his parents Dale and Doreen Robie and his younger brother Dalton. At the time of these events in 1993, he was 4 years old, and Dalton was only 1.5 years old. The family lived in a small New York community called Savona. There were only around 700 inhabitants living there at that time. Derrick was beloved. Everyone knew him. He was friendly, always smiling, and he loved sports. Everyone considered him to be a great child. During the summer holidays of '93, the community organized various local activities, including a summer camp. The children went there in the morning, did activities in the forest, participated in educational games, and returned home in the late afternoon. They did not sleep at the camp. Although the location was very near to the house, Doreen accompanied him there and collected him every day. The location was a straight line to their home, and it took less than 5 minutes to get there. However, on the morning of August 2nd, baby Dalton was very restless. He was crying a lot, and Doreen was unable to get ready in time to take Derrick to camp. Derrick was concerned that he would miss the initial activities which he loved. At 9:15 in the morning, already a little late, he told his mother that he would make his way to the camp alone. Derrick picked up his lunchbox and left. At the end of the day, Doreen went to the camp to pick up her son. She waited at the entrance, but he didn't appear. She watched all the children leaving until the place was empty. Doreen asked the instructors about her son, but they said he hadn't shown up that day. In desperation, she called the police. Their search began immediately. They searched around the path Derrick would have taken between the house and the camp. In the middle of the woods close by, Derrick's body was found in circumstances that those police officers had never seen before. The boy's lunchbox was open. Some of the items inside were eaten, and others were scattered around the location. Juice was spilled over his body, and a banana was crushed. It looked like an animal, which had not eaten in a long time, had done this. There were serious signs of beating on the child's body. His head had been crushed by a stone which was discarded nearby. A tree branch had been inserted into his body. It was a truly horrific scene. An autopsy later revealed that Derrick was strangled until he lost consciousness, then repeatedly punched and kicked. After that, the attacker beat his head several times with a rock, leaving his face almost unrecognizable. Finally, they had removed the child's pants and inserted a branch into his anus. It is impossible to describe how horrified the parents and the local population were by the news. As I said, the town was small. Everyone knew each other, and that's exactly why questions remained. Who did this? Was it someone we know? Was it some stranger who was passing through? Why, he was only a child, just 4 years old. The police questioned a lot of people, family members, friends, people from the neighborhood, camp staff, and even children and teenagers who had participated in camp activities. No clear suspect was identified except for one child, a 13-year-old boy named Eric Smith, who, as they talked to him, began to say strange things. He said that he had seen Derrick that morning going to camp and was able to describe the clothes he was wearing, but he said he didn't see him after this. As he spoke, his voice changed tone. He trembled, and sometimes he didn't respond at all. They decided to investigate Eric to see if the boy was just nervous about the situation. Did he have some psychological problem? Or was he really involved? Or perhaps knew something? The police discovered several things. Eric really did have some social problems. He was shy, he had no friends, he was bullied a lot at school, so... One time when he was riding his bike to school, something he did a lot alone, a group of boys stopped him, grabbed his backpack, threw him and all his items on the floor and ordered him to pick everything up. The bullying was often physical. He was pushed around and had been beaten too. If that wasn't enough, he had already killed 2 cats, one from his house and one belonging to his neighbour. He cruelly killed those animals in a very painful way, suffocating them with plastic bags. It is worth remembering that many serial killers show criminal tendencies during their childhood by doing exactly this, killing animals in a disturbing way. I'm not saying that Eric would have become a serial killer just because of this, but this is an important point to note with regard to the field of child psychopathy. He was aggressive, and on the recommendation of his father, Ted Smith, Eric was instructed to beat things when he was angry so that he wouldn't take his feelings out on others. To top it off, Eric didn't go to camp that day. In fact, he went briefly in the morning, but behaved so badly on his arrival that he was asked to leave and return home. In other words, Eric saw Derrick not when he was leaving, but when he was returning home. With this information, the boy was asked again to recreate the moment he saw Derrick on his way to the camp. On his bike, Eric brought the officers to where he claimed to have been when he saw Derrick across the street. This drew their attention because the distance between them would not have given Eric a clear view of the things that he was able to report in detail during his testimony. The police started to keep an eye on him. Somehow, in the following days, Eric began to enjoy the attention he received. Perhaps as a provocation, he asked the mother of one of his friends what would happen to the person who did this if they were a child too. He even asked how DNA tests work. The day Derrick was found dead, Eric had arrived home with both hands covered in blood. He told his parents he had kept hitting a tree after he was kicked out of the camp. His parents, Tammy and Ted, talked to him in more detail about what he had done on that day. Hours later, they took Eric to the police station because the boy confessed that he was responsible for little Derrick's death. In his new statement, Eric explained that when he met Derrick on the way to the camp, he told him that he knew a shortcut which Derrick didn't need as the path was a straight line. It is not known to what extent this is true. Once in the woods, he attacked the child and committed the barbarities described previously. In explanation, he said that in this moment of anger, it was he who was hurting someone, and it was not someone who was hurting him. The cruelty of this crime was already immeasurable, and the shock was even greater when the news broke that little Derrick's assailant was another child of just 13 years old. Exactly 1 year and 2 weeks after the crime, on August 16, 1994, Eric was tried as an adult and sentenced to life in prison with the possibility of parole from 2002. The sentence would be served in juvenile prison until reaching the age of majority, when he would be transferred to the adult correctional system. In 2002, he made his first request for parole and this was denied. To date, he has appealed 10 times and all have been denied. Eric has already given several interviews where he says that he is a new person and that he is sorry for the crime. The people who work with him in prison say that he has an excellent behaviour record, and many even consider him to be a good person. Little Derrick's family moved from the city because they were no longer able to live in the house that reminded them of the boy. Derrick Robie today remains only in the memory of his loving family and friends. We express our deepest sympathies to the victim's family. If you've made it this far, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe to this channel. Also, add your opinion in our comments. Thank you very much. I will see you in the next case.